which will be held, and the agenda is before you. It will include resolutions to adopt our operating budget or capital budget, and both for the town and utility. And we will have a resolution as well for the approval of the utility tariff. So I just would like to say a few words. I know it was really challenging. It's a challenge every year, but this year especially so, to really make sure that we come up with a budget that was balanced, that really let people really how we spent the money last year and how we intend to spend it next year, or I guess this 21-22, and how we spend it in 2021. So there will be the chair of the Finance and Technology Committee is Councillor Gail McDonald, who's done a great job, and with her and the Director of Finance, Tim O'Connell, and the rest of the council, who have worked really hard to come up with this budget. So I compliment them all on this, and we really look forward to another successful year. I think we've gotten a lot done over the past year, and we intend to get a lot done over this year. So with that, I will turn it over to Chair of Finance and Technology, Councillor Gail McDonald.
Thank you, Your Worship. It's my pleasure to highlight the 2021-2022 Town of Stratford budget. This budget is balanced by implementing the second phase of last year's previously announced tax increases. The two-year plan was necessary to allow us to balance our budget and was shared among all in Stratford rather than just by some taxpayers. The increases in most cases maintain a lower or equal rate to those of our closest neighbours in Charlottetown and Cornwall. To the average residential property owner, this will mean a less than $15 tax increase for the upcoming year. I am pleased to announce there will be no increase in our Stratford utility charges for the upcoming year. The town of Stratford continues to face significant pressure from growth. With growth comes the need to provide additional infrastructure, programming, and services, all of which require additional revenue to be able to deliver. While being positioned for growth is exciting for our town, it requires us to be forward-thinking in our planning and forecasting. Growth in the town is very positive. However, it doesn't directly relate to increased revenue for the town, as services, including water and sewer infrastructure, trails and sidewalks, increased recreation and cultural programming, and fire protection, among others, are required in order for the growth to occur. And it comes at an expense that is not equal to the growth revenue. We expect that this year will see further growth from both commercial and residential developments, and for this trend to continue for many years to come. As we look to the next 12 months, there are many exciting projects underway in our community. Some of these will be highlighted in more detail on the following pages, but residents will be looking forward to seeing the waterfront space begin to develop, the community campus design and initial servicing begin, the launch of Switch Stratford, a residential energy retrofit program, a trail expansion at Fullerton Creek Conservation Park, and much more. Our community is a great one, with many positive things happening around us. And of course, our biggest asset is our wonderful residents. We are positioned well for the future, and together we are truly building the best community possible. In the 2021-2022 town budget, we are forecasting revenue of $7,943,000, which includes government transfers of $1,334,000 and expenses of $7,942,200, which results in a surplus of $800. The town of Stratford, through your town council and staff, continue to deliver exceptional value for your investment. As a resident, with the amount of revenue available to us, municipalities are limited in number of sources of revenue available to them. We rely primarily on property taxes, utility charges, and fees to pay for our services and infrastructure. The upcoming budget year includes investments in developing interpretational signage, demonstrating the value of natural areas in the community, the continuation of the popular residential tree planting program, further park development in the town, as well as additional public art installments. The past year has seen use of our outdoor spaces, including trails, parks, and sidewalks, greatly increase, with numbers remaining high throughout the winter months as well. Many residents have discovered places like Fullerton's Creek Conservation Park for the first time in the past year, and are now including it as a regular part of their activities. The town continues to expand our network of trails and connections, including looking at additional partnerships with private landowners who remain responsive to our requests to extend our active transportation networks across their properties. A new active transportation path, subject to pricing, is planned for the water side of Keppick Road, from Kinloch Road, extending east to the town boundary. The budget for the town of Stratford's 2021-2022 capital items is $7,875,100, which after infrastructure funding and other funding partners in the amount of $4,372,200 will be a net cost of $3,420,900 to the taxpayers. Included in this number is funding for town capital, including $2,570,000 in New Deal gas funding, $670,200 in Investing in Canada funding, and $1,132,000 in other funding. The town will use the surplus from 2020-2021 to reduce our capital financing. The utility capital budget is $3,259,100, of which the town will receive infrastructure funding of $900,000 from the Clean Water Wastewater Fund, $206,200 from the Municipal Strategic Component Funding, and $1,041,000 from the Investing in Canada Fund, for a net capital of $1,111,900. The 2020-21-22 Town of Stratford capital budget includes funding to complete the purchase of the community campus lands, as well as the annexation of the portion located outside of the boundary of the town, and the required rezoning of the campus lands to public service and institutional, and the rezoning of the two remaining parcels to residential R1. This process is underway and expected to be completed by this summer. The budget also includes funding to complete the development of a master plan for the campus property, which will include a site plan with elements and amenities laid out in accordance with their relationship to each other, and showing where the roads, water and sewer services, electrical and communication services, stormwater infrastructure, and active transportation infrastructure will be located, following the natural topography to the extent possible. The plan will also include a phasing-in scheme to enable the campus to be developed in an orderly fashion, as funding and community needs dictate. Further decisions on the site development will be made by council as funding is available. Community needs arise and priorities are determined. The property is an investment in our community that will be developed over a period of time to serve the future needs of our residents. The town of Stratford, along with the partners City of Charlottetown and Town of Cornwall, is upgrading the aging T3 transit fleet with new buses to ensure we continue to provide a safe, reliable, and consistent service to the residents. In 21-22, two 40-foot and four 35-foot transit buses and two minibuses will be received. The addition of these buses will allow us to look at expanding services in the future and providing consistent, continued service. The minibuses will be a great asset to the system and can be used in pilot program areas where new routes are being contemplated, or the possible implementation of an on-demand transit area. In addition to the above, the Ready Pass system and upgrades to the Wi-Fi system will be implemented in the upcoming year. With the Stratford utility project to pipe the town's sewer to Charlottetown complete now, the town will soon add the lagoon property at the entrance to our community and is in the process of planning for the future of this area. The town of Stratford is completing phase 2 of consultations, closing on March 29th, to receive feedback from residents on the future of the waterfront area. The current budget includes $925,000 for initial work at the site to coincide with the decommissioning of the lagoons. Along with the previously announced planned active transportation path along Keppit Road, the existing Trans-Canada Trail network from the Hillsborough Bridge to the underpass connection on Glen Stewart Drive will be paved in the upcoming year, and upgrades to the sidewalks at the Trans-Canada Highway, Stratford Road, and Bunbury Road intersection will be made to assist with the movement of increased active transportation users once the new active transportation corridor across the bridge is complete by the province of PEI. The town will make further pedestrian and traffic safety investments, including purchasing additional portable speed humps and speed radar signs, and exploring the option of adding additional permanent speed humps in certain areas. The town thanks the province of PEI for working with us to have rapid flashing crosswalk beacons installed at busy crosswalks near our schools. Fullerton's Creek Conservation Park was created in 2013 with the purchase of 140 acres consisting of a mix of forest, field, stream, and marshland to protect the water supply at the Fullerton's Creek wellfield site. Since then, the property has continued to be developed and will see a further trail expansion in the upcoming year. This past fall, an edible orchard was planted with support from Tree Canada and the Stratford Area Watershed Improvement Group. A red-winged blackbird public art installation was complete and a public washroom was constructed. The natural playground will open later in 2021. Other highlights of this year's budget: solar panel installation at Stratford Emergency Services Center. This is subject to funding. Energy retrofits to Cotton Center, which is also subject to funding. Establishment of an annual business survey. On-site parking lot paving. Funding for 2023 Canada Games Stratford athletes and Canada Winter Games. Funding to enable online voting for the 2022 municipal election. Council has not made a final decision on this as yet. Additional electric vehicle charging stations. For a utility update, the Stratford utility operates on a cash recovery basis, and as such, the town continually analyzes expenses to ensure that the rates for customers are equitable while being sufficient to meet our long-term goals. Recently, the Stratford Utility Corporation, and ultimately all residents, reached a milestone as the town's sewage began successful pumping to the Charlottetown Pollution Control Plant. In 2020, a comprehensive review of water and sewer expenses, as well as a 5-year projected capital plan, was completed, and these projections run through the utility rate model. So for the upcoming budget year, the town of Stratford's utility customers will have no increase to their water or sewer rates. As we have just begun pumping to Charlottetown and will be billed ongoing for all sewage pumped to their plant, it is important for all Stratford utility users to look for ways to reduce their consumption where possible. The 2021-2022 utility budget includes $3,178,800 in revenue, consisting primarily of metered and unmetered utility customer rates. The expenses are budgeted to be $3,153,400, which will result in a surplus of $25,400. Further budget investments from the utility budget include upgrades to the Cornish Sewage Lift Station and Pondside Water Station, along with further implementation of the town's inflow and infiltration reduction program, which saw repairs to over 450 manholes in the 2020-21 budget year. This work is even more important now that are pumping our sewage to Charlottetown and will reduce the amount of surface and groundwater seeping into the sewer system. An application to the Investing in Canada Infrastructure Program for twinning of the water tower, further upgrades to the Corrish sewage lift station, and to implement solar power at 3 water stations will be made. Continued upgrades to the town's SCADA system communications by converting all remaining sewer pump stations to radio communications will also be done this year. The town of Stratford and Stratford Area Watershed Improvement Group continue to provide Stratford utility customers with a free in-home water audit. The program aims to teach residents how to read their water meter and check regularly for leaks in their home, to educate residents about how much water they are using and provide homeowners with recommendations on how to reduce their water consumption. While the COVID-19 pandemic reduced the ability to offer the program for part of 2020, we wish to assure residents that the water audit program continues at this time in a safe and compliant manner, and encourage all Stratford utility customers to consider having one completed. In closing, on behalf of all members of council, we thank residents for the resilience this past year. While 2020 and 2021 have thrown many challenges to us thus far, we have adjusted, adapted, and responded as needed, and with you and your safety in mind. For many residents and businesses in our community, 2021 may remain a challenging year, but as a community, as your town, we commit to continuing to work hard on your behalf every day, and will pivot as or is needed once again. We truly hope that there will be an in-person community gathering before the year is through. And that's respectfully submitted to your worship from myself, and I have 5 resolutions to go along with this presentation.
Okay, thanks for that report, and yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. That was really well done. And I compliment you, as I said, and the rest of your team, the Director of Finance and Technology, Tim O'Connell, and all the management team, and the staff and the council on the work that was done to come up with this document, this presentation. So I'm really pleased with it. Okay, please proceed with your resolution. Where's the resolution?
Thank you, Worship. Resolution number FT 002-2021, adoption of the 2021-2022 operating budget. Be it resolved that the 2021-2022 Town of Stratford operating budget, the revenue of $7,943,000 and expenses of $7,942,200 for a surplus of $800 and a cash flow surplus of $126,300 be hereby approved in accordance with the following revenue and expenses table. Robert, is that necessary to read in or? So the chart is in your package. Be it further resolved that non-commercial municipal tax rate be set at 45 cents per $100 of assessment for 2021. The non-commercial, non-resident municipal tax rate be set at 90 cents per 100 of assessment for 2021. The non-commercial apartment municipal tax rate be set at 66 cents per $100 of assessment for 2021. The non-commercial, non-resident apartment municipal tax rate be set at $1.32 per 100 of assessment for 2021. The non-commercial motel municipal tax rate be set at 66 cents per 100 of assessment for 2021. The non-commercial, non-resident motel municipal tax rate be set at $1.32 per 100 of assessment for 2021. The commercial municipal tax rate be set at $1.25 per $100 of assessment for 2021. This resolution bears the recommendation of the Finance Committee as discussed at a meeting held on March 16, 2021. So moved.
Okay, do I have a seconder?
I'll second.
Yeah, I don't know who got there first. Maybe Mary can make up her mind. But, okay, so it's moved and seconded. And is there any discussion? Anyone want to comment or ask any questions on this budget?
Again, I just want to commend Councilor McDonald and her group and Vice Chair Jill Beveridge for a job well done. I know it was difficult, and I appreciate the effort you put into this.
Thank you. Okay, any other comments or questions? If not, we'll proceed to the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those against? Motion carried. Okay, please proceed with the second resolution.
Resolution number FT 003-2021, adoption of the 2021-22 capital budget and the 4-year capital plan. Whereas part of the new Municipal Government Act, the town of Stratford is required to submit a 5-year capital expenditure plan that includes an asset management program, and be it resolved that the 2021-2022 capital budget for the following schedules be approved in the amount of $7,875,100, less New Deal funding of $2,570,000, less Investing in Canada funding of $670,200, and other funding of $1,132,000, and a reserve allocation of $82,000 for a net town capital budget of $3,420,900. Be it further resolved that the attached 4-year capital plan covering the years 2022-23 to 2025-26 per the following schedules be approved. Schedules are in your package. This resolution bears the recommendation of the Finance and Technology Committee as discussed at a meeting held on March 16, 2021. So moved.
For a seconder?
I'll second.
Okay, so the first seconder on the first motion was Deputy Mayor Cole. Okay, any discussion, any comments or questions? If not, we'll proceed to the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried.
Okay, next resolution, please.
Resolution number FT 004-2021, adoption of the 2021-22 utility operating budget. Be it resolved that the attached 2021-22 Stratford Utility Corporation operating budget with revenues of $3,178,800 and expenses of $3,153,400 for a surplus of $25,400 be approved as follows. Schedule is in your package. This resolution bears the recommendation of the Finance and Technology Committee as discussed at a meeting held on March 16, 2021. So moved.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Okay, any discussion or comments? I just want to say that I'm very pleased that there was no increase to rates with this budget. So I think it's really well done by Director of Infrastructure Jeremy Crosby and by the Chair of Finance and Director of Finance. They all really worked hard, as did the Chief Administrative Officer, Robert Hughes. So everyone worked hard to make sure there were no rate increases. And I'm sure residents will really appreciate that. I know I do. So with that, any other comments or questions? Okay, we'll proceed to the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those against? Motion carried.
Okay. Resolution.
Thank you. Resolution number FT 005-2021, adoption of the 2021-22 utility capital budget. Whereas as part of the new Municipal Government Act, the town of Stratford is required to submit a 5-year capital expenditure plan that includes an asset management program. And be it resolved that the following tables for the 2021-22 utility capital budget be approved in the amount of $3,259,100, less Investing in Canada funding of $1,041,000, clean water and wastewater funding of $900,000, and municipal strategic component funding of $206,200 for a net capital expenditure of $1,111,900. Be it further resolved that the following table for the 4-year capital plan be approved covering the years 2022-23 to 2025-26. Tables are in your package. This resolution bears the recommendation of the Finance and Technology Committee as discussed at a meeting held on March 16, 2021. So moved.
A seconder for that? Seconded. Steve Bland, thank you. Okay, moved and seconded. Any discussion, any comments or questions? Okay, we'll proceed to the vote. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary minded? Motion carried. Okay, final resolution.
And the resolution. Resolution number FT 006-2021, approval of the 2021 utility tariff. Whereas a comprehensive review of water and sewer expenses, as well as a projected 5-year capital plan, was completed in 2020, and whereas these projections were analyzed through utility rate models to determine the rates for the water and sewer ratepayers, be it resolved that the attached Stratford utility tariff for 2021, which incorporates the following, be hereby approved. The water for a single-family dwelling will remain at $82.05 per quarter as of April 2021. The sewer for a single-family dwelling will remain at $122.86 per quarter as of April 2021. The consumption charge for metered water will remain at 96 cents per cubic meter as of April 2021, and the consumption charge for metered sewer will remain at $1.45 per cubic meter as of April 2021. This resolution bears the recommendation of the Finance and Technology Committee as discussed at a meeting held on March 16, 2021. So moved.
Okay, do you have a seconder? Thank you. Any comments or questions on this? Okay, call for the vote then. All those in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. Well, thank you very much. I think that's an excellent budget. I compliment council and staff and the management team on the development of this budget. I think it's important for residents to realize that we have a very limited budget. We have approximately just a little under $8 million, we have $7.9 million to spend taxpayers' money, of which $2.5 million approximately goes to fixed costs like salaries. We have fire protection, which has gone up significantly over the past couple of years. Our policing costs have gone up. A number of our costs have gone up, which we've continued to basically able to, with growth and everything, we've been able to do it with minimal tax increases. So I think that we will, as a council, undertake to do it as much as possible into the future, and we will continue to look for opportunities to save money and to look at the wisest best practices in terms of fiscal management and making sure we're making the best use of our money. So with that, I will ask if anyone else has any comments before we close. If not, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment. Thank you. So moved, or now adjourned. Thank you.